Hello again. I just had a beautiful cross-country flight to this beautiful area. It wasn't my intention to find this area, but I will take you back to the beginning and I will show you the entire flight. Three hours from Oslo, you find Liagarne. Beautiful cross-country place. And this is where the story begins. The day starts weak, but according to the forecast, it's gonna be stronger and stronger. So we just have to hang in and maintain the altitude. Today, I fly with Luis, Lennart and Roald. My plan is to try to fly towards Geilo, and we will fly as a team. We're quite late in the season, and I'm excited to see how far we can go. I'm starting to become quite fond of flying in the autumn. The mellow thermals, the softer lighting. But today it's still quite hard as the valley is partly covered in shadows and it makes it difficult to get any good lift. So we just have to stay close, try and scrape whatever we can get and maintain the altitude while we are waiting for the day to start. After a lot of scraping, we find ourselves back on the ground and we go back up again to a second takeoff. And now something has changed in the air. It's less clouds and a lot more wind. And suddenly I find myself high above the takeoff. Once we reach the desired altitude, our first goal will be Ål, and from there we'll try and head to Geilo. The strong wind is pushing me further and further south of the takeoff. Suddenly I find myself quite far behind. And I notice Lennart and Roald start their approach on Ål. So in fear of dropping behind, I immediately go after them. Below me I can see Luis. He's quite low. So I push my speed bar in an attempt to try and catch up with the other two guys. On my way over, I lose a lot of altitude. And down on ground, I can see a lot of shadow. So I start to think, am I gonna bust out on Ål? Getting closer, but lower and lower. High above me, I can see Lennart and Roald. In good altitude. While I start to scout for possible landings. I see a huge shadow chasing me on the ground. And I can't find any lift. But I keep pushing ahead. I have a hope. Maybe there's something above the central Ål. And if I manage to get to a ridge in the far end there, maybe I can soar until I find some thermals again. It's a bit frustrating seeing them play around high up in altitude. But now I'm gonna focus on myself, otherwise this flight is over. I can find some small bubbles and I try to just get a little bit of altitude. But I'm I'm still chased by this shadow on the ground. The wind is quite strong, so if only I can reach the next mountain, I'm pretty positive I'm gonna be able to soar. Now I'm passing Hall City, and down on the water I can see strong wind at an angle at the next mountain, so this looks good. If only I can reach it, I will be able to get up. Despite my low altitude, I managed to reach the ridge, and I know in the middle of this ridge is a good spot for thermals. I lost my teammates, so from now I'm on my own. I follow the thermals all the way up to cloud base at 2000 meters, and from there I can see Roal quite low towards the Ailo. So I decide, instead of going that way, I will drift with the cloud base towards Hemsedal. Maybe I can pass the 2000 meter tall mountains in the distance. I'm amazed by the scenery and the feeling of being all alone in these mighty mountains. In the distance I can see Reineskaret, a chain of mountains I will need to cross if I'm gonna be able to land in Hemsedal. When I approach the mountains, it's getting quite late and the wind is very strong. I'm pinned when I fly into the wind, and I'm struggling to get a good enough altitude to clear the mountain peaks. So I'm a bit afraid that I'm gonna end up lee side in the shadows on the opposite side of these mountains, and I start to look for a place to land. The strong wind makes it impossible for me to fly back out again, and I cannot cross over to Hemsedal, forcing me to land at this remote place. I land at the most clear route because I'm quite afraid of the strong turbulence the wind can create. I'm quite happy to find myself back on the ground on this magical place. I was tempted to try and cross over to Hemsedal, but it was really blowing a lot there, so I didn't dare to cross the mountains. So, but I landed here, Reineskaret. It's quite nice. I returned the next day to capture some drone footage of this beautiful area. I would never discover this place if it wasn't for me flying my paraglider and then getting forced to land. And I'll definitely be back to get some more paragliding footage in this beautiful area. Steep rocky mountains, far from everything.